Hello viewers. So today in this video we will going to solve few problems based on one dimension array. If you're not seen the last video, please go through the last video, because in the last video I have covered the concept of array, then about one dimension, two dimension, then how to initialize the array elements and how to access the elements of the array. So first go through that video, clear your concept, and then you come to this video and then we'll try to solve the problems. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll start with the very basic problems. First we will try to insert certain values in the array, and then we'll try to display from the array, and then afterwards we will slowly move to the complex problem. So the first problem, if you see over here, is write a program to store 10 elements inside an array and display it on the screen. So we have to take 10 elements and store inside the array, and then we have to display it on the screen. So let's go to the turbo and we'll do this problem. Okay, so we have to take 10 elements, it's mentioned over there. So limit is already given. How many elements we want 10 elements. So what I'll do, I'll create an integer array variable. So a is the name of the array and this is my data type. Okay, so this array is of integer type which can hold 10 elements. This is the size equal to, then you have to write in the curly braces. Okay, if you want to initialize the elements in the same line, you will have to write in the curly braces, and all the elements must be separated with comma. So now I'll assign the elements. Let's say 1, then 2, then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, so if you see here, we have initialized the 10 elements. And if you remember in the last video, I told you that even if you don't write 10 over here, and if you're initializing the elements, so depending on the number of elements, this size will be automatically taken by the array. Okay, so this is the option. But if you want, you can initialize. If you want, you can write over there, right? So we have provided a space for 10 elements and we have initialized also. Okay. One question is there, suppose we want to calculate how much memory will be allocated to store this particular array. So you will have to calculate how much memory is required to store one element. So this is an integer type. It will take 2 bytes of memory. So total 10 elements are there. So 10 into 2, 20 bytes of the memory will be reserved, okay, in the computer memory, and then all these elements will be stored in the contiguous memory location. Clear? And then after this let's declare one variable I. By using this, we will loop through this array and we will try to display it. 9, 10, then I variable. Okay, now CLR SCR for clearing the screen. Then I'll display one message that array elements are /n, so that we should go to the next line. I'm using the for loop. Now in the for loop, I want to basically iterate through all these elements, right? So if you see here, this element is at a of 0 location, this element is at a of 1 location, this element is at a of 2 location. So I'll start my I loop from 0 and it should move till 10 numbers, right? So what I'll do, if it is starting from 0, so my I will go till less than 10 and I plus plus, and then I'll one by one I'll fetch the elements from the array and try to display it on this field. So my I will start from 0. Always remember, whenever you are processing array, you must start with the index number 0. So I equal to 0, I less than 10, right? Why 10? because till 9 it will become 10, right? 0 to 9, 10. I plus plus, then here printf %d, I'm giving one space, a of I. So basically first time I value will be initialized to 0, right? Then it will check whether 0 is less than 10, yes, the condition is true. Then it will go inside that and it will try to display a of 0 value first time. Then a of 0 is what, 1, it will provide one space. Then after that I will be incremented by 1, I will become 1. Then a of 1 element will be displayed, a of 1 is nothing but 2. So like this it will display, try to display all the elements. And after this let's write get ch. The program is done. So simply what we have done, we have created one array, right, of 10 elements. We have stored the elements also directly over here, and then we try to display with the for loop on the screen. Now before running this program you must always save the file. So let's save it. So I'm giving as test1.c, test1.c. Let's run this. The array elements are 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, right? So this was a very basic program in which we have not asked from the user the number of elements or the element itself, right? We from our side we have hard coded the values inside our program and then we try to display on this screen. Okay, now let's go to the second problem. So second problem is write a program to store 10 numbers from the user and display it on the screen. Now in the first program though we took 10 elements but we hard coded from our side. Now in the second program we will ask from the user to enter the 10 elements and then we will try to store inside the array, and after that we will display on the screen, right? So in this program we will ask from the user. Let's go to Turbo. So what I'll do, I'll modify in the same program. Okay, here I don't want this hard-coded value, so I'm removing all these values. Okay, right now we know that the user will going to enter 10 elements. That's why I mentioned the size is 10. Okay, then what we have to do, we have to ask the user to enter the element. So I'll display one message, printf enter array elements. Right? So user will see this message, he will try to enter. So we will also give in this particular format what we will do, I equal to 0, I less than 10 elements the user will enter, I plus plus. In this for loop we will write printf enter the element %d, right? So user will enter the element and here we will display it as I plus 1. So this statement will be printed on the screen and it will tell that enter the element 1, enter the element 2, enter the element 3, like this. So it will tell the user that enter the first element or second element or third element, like this. And the moment the user will enter, we will say scanf %d, right? And we will try to store inside our array. So array name is what, a of I we will write. At the address of a of I you write, and the elements will be stored at the different location because I can take the different values, and on that values, location values, all the elements will be stored. Clear? So this is how we store the values. Once the values are stored, we are displaying it, array elements are, and then with the for loop, same for loop, we are displaying it on the screen. Let's see. Let's try to run this program. So enter array elements is telling me enter the element 1. So this 1 is displayed over there because we have written I plus 1. So let's enter 1 only. 1, then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we have entered 10 elements. Okay, let's see whether it is stored inside the array. Yes, and displaying from the array 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So here we have not hard coded the values in this program, but we have asked from the user to enter the 10 elements. We stored inside the array using the scanf function, and then we display it on the screen. Now remember one thing here, the limit was given that we have to ask 10 elements only from the user, right? Now let's go to the next problem. The third problem is write a program to store n numbers from the user and display it on the screen. So in this program we have to ask n numbers from the user and display it on the screen. So the limit is not given over here. We have to ask how many elements the user wants to enter, right? That number we will going to store inside one variable, let's say n, and then that many number we will ask from the user to enter, and we will store in the array. Let's do it. So again I'll modify in the same problem. Now here we don't know the number of elements, right? Limit is not given. User will going to enter n elements. So what I'll assume that the user will not going to enter more than 100 values. So in the start only I'll make the size of the array as 100. I'm assuming that user will not going to enter more than 100 values. Clear? And then I'll declare I and one n variable in which I'll ask the user to enter the number of elements, how many elements he wants, and then I'll show inside this n variable. Let's give the message to the user printf enter the number of elements. Enter the number of elements. User will read this message. He will enter. We will store inside this variable %d and %, right? So we have stored the number of elements. Now what we will do, we will tell the user to enter the array elements, and then now this loop must move till less than n, right? Because the n number of elements user wants to enter. So in place of this 10, I'll simply write n. Clear? And this will take care of entering the number inside the array. Similarly, if you want to display it, this is there is not only 10 elements, but there are n numbers. What n may be any value, right? 5, 10, 15. So my loop must move less than n times. It will display it on the screen. Okay, that's it. So let's go to the run. Enter the number of elements. Let's enter 5 only. So enter the first element 1, then second element 2, third element 3, 4, and then 5. So array elements are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you see here, it's asking the user to enter the number of elements. Once the user will say 5, then it will take the 5 elements. If the user will say 10, then it will take 10 elements, and it will show inside the array, and then from the array we are displaying it. So don't forget that here we have to take that n variable. In the previous two problem, it was already given that we have to store only 10 elements. So what changes we made? We just made two changes. One change what we did, we assume that our array elements will not increase more than, it will not be more than 100. So we have just assumed that this array size, max array size will be 100, right? And then what we have declared one n variable in which we'll be asking the number of elements from the user. We will store inside n. Then all the loop we have changed up to n times. Clear? Now let's go to the next problem. So the last problem is write a program to store n numbers from the user and display the sum and average of all the numbers, right? So again, it's similar to the previous problem. We have to take n, we have to ask the user to enter the n elements, how many elements he wants, and then we have to insert those numbers in the array, and then afterward we have to calculate sum and average of all the numbers. So let's do it. So I'll modify in the previous problem only. Here array of 100, I am assuming that it will not increase more than 100 elements. Okay, so everything will remain the same. Only thing, I'll require one sum variable, so I'll initialize by 0, and I'll require one float variable in which I can take the average. So how to take the average? Once you calculate the sum of all the numbers, then you divide or summation divided by total number of elements, you will get the average. So that's why I've declared average is a float, because this can be a fractional values, right? So I'm asking enter the number of elements. User will enter, let's say 5, then 5 times it will insert inside the array. Okay, then we are displaying over here. So what we will do while inserting the value inside the array, at the same time we will also do the sum of all the elements. So sum, I'm writing sum equal to sum plus a of I. So whatever value is being inserted at this particular location a of I, right, the same value we are fetching and we are adding to the sum variable. So first time sum value is 0 because we have initialized to 0 value. If you see here, see, it is initialized to 0 value. So first time sum value is 0, then 0 plus a of I. So let's say the first time a of I, a of 0, right? So if we have entered 1 over there, so 1 will be added to some variable. Then the second value is if 2, see, then a of 1 will be 2, so 1 plus 2, 3 will get stored inside some variable. So like this it will go on doing the sum of all the elements. Once this loop is over, the sum variable will have the summation of all the numbers. We will calculate the average. So average formula we will write like this: sum divided by n, total number of elements. It will give me the average. Now after printing this array, we can just print our answer. So printf sum equal to %d and average equal to %f, and here just give the variable name sum and average. So we have written both the variable names. Let's run this. So enter the number of elements. I am entering 5. Okay, so it will ask to enter 5 elements. Enter the element 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, let's say 5. So we have entered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 elements. Let's see what will happen. So array elements are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now summation, whether sum of all the elements are 15, just check it. 1 plus 2 is 3, 3 plus 3 is 6, 6 plus 4 10, 10 plus 5 is 15, right? And then average will be calculated as total sum is 15 divided by number of elements. So number of element is 5, so 15 divided by 5, it's coming 3. Clear? Then let's see one more time. Okay, so in this I have declared one array variable of 100 elements, right? I am assuming that it will not go beyond the 100. I variable for loop, n for taking the total number of elements, then sum variable for doing the summation, and average variable for taking the average value. I'll ask from the user to enter the number of elements. Then that many times our loop will move, we will scanf. Here what we are doing actually, when we are inserting the values inside the array, at the same time we are also calculating the sum inside the sum variable. Once this loop will get over, we will be having basically the sum of all the elements. Then we can finally calculate average equal to sum divided by total number of elements. It will give us the average. After displaying the array elements, you can always print the answer sum equal to and the average, right? So these are the 4 basic problems. Normally I start with these 4 basic problems so that you can have a proper concept. Okay, what I will advise you to practice all this problem, and if you're not understanding anything, please go through the previous video, then you will have a proper concept, and then after that you try to attempt all these problem and do it carefully. Practice all these problem. I'll be continuing the problems of one dimension in the next video also, right? We'll be solving a lot of problems. Keep watching the video. Thanks for watching my video. Thanks all of you.